Um, I feel that you are privy to a lot of, privileged information, a lot of personal information, and also just a lot of I'm seeing like, information that you have to be very careful about how you disseminate to the public, how you let other people know what you know. So I feel like a little bit of, office politics coming into the picture. And some of you might be in a field where you are privy to a lot of, this is kind of like in the work sector, in the career sector, where you have a lot of disparate information, and you're going to have to figure out which is the true narrative. So sifting through the truth, or sifting through the information in order to arrive at the truth. That's going to be one of the major theme. And then once you are able to arrive at the truth, how you are able to, relay that information to your supervisors, to the people working below you, how you are able to use that information and decide on a course of action, that is going to be very, very vital for you. The other thing I'm sensing for some of you is that you're in a field that is very, very technical. And it seems almost as if, there could be like many interpretations. So, for example, you look at one situation this way, and other people around you are offering their inputs, and they're saying, no, it's this way too. And then somebody else is giving you like a different vantage point. So you have a lot of conflicting information. And so deciding on, how you want to communicate that and deciding on which is the true narrative, that's going to be majorly important too. And the main theme that I am feeling here is you have to really trust your intuition. Okay. Trust yourself, trust your intuition, and trust that you have the critical thinking capabilities to arrive at the best solution, or to arrive at the truth, or to clearly disseminate, the dissect the story that you're hearing, dissect the story that it's filtering through. So I feel like there are a lot of, there's like self-doubt coming through. There's like, differing narratives that will come through for this month that will, make you reassess the things that you believe in, which is always a good thing. And what you decide to do with that, I feel that it's greatly, you might be constrained by your work environment to do something, even though you might not believe 100% in its merits. You might be constrained by financial obligations. If you don't do this one project this specific way, the money might not be made available, the funding might not be made available, or you might not be picked for the next project. So I feel like there is a lot of social pressure. There's also a lot of pressure from the structure in which you operate, the work structure and the environment in which you operate. And then there's also, the thing about intuitive knowledge, things that you feel everyone should know this. It's so intuitive. It's so like common sense. And yet you have to explain these things to somebody that might be struggling with these things. They can't really see the big picture. They don't really see how all the pieces fit together in, the greater scheme of things, which is their life. And so things that you feel might be common sense, or I feel like people that don't see these things that you consider to be just commonsensical things, they're raised in a different environment. And so overcoming the communication barriers, and to allow yourself to come to a conclusion, or to allow yourself to relay information to another person in a way that allows them to see, how everything fits together. That's going to be a major theme for this month. Your communication sector looks very good, and I feel that you are aiming for a lot more harmony and compromise. And I do feel that overall, the way that you carry yourself in all aspects of your life, this is, with family members, with loved ones, with friends, even with coworkers, and even supervisors, the way that you carry yourself is one that indicates to me a lot of diplomacy, a lot of just, wanting to reach a middle ground, wanting to compromise with another, setting up, setting up, I feel like setting up, peaceful peaceful negotiations in order to allow others to compromise with you. I feel like that's what you're setting up when you try to communicate. You come into, a situation with an open mind. And I feel that it's the people that you're going to be dealing with that might throw you, that might like ask questions you didn't anticipate. They might approach it from a different point of view. And so I feel that the work sector, there's going to be quite a few things where you're going to have to repair, you're going to have to fix. Okay, so the people in your external environment, they are bringing quite a bit of problems. And the way that they present the problems, it might be accusatory. It might be, let's play the blame game and see who's responsible. And so the main thing is for you to maintain your cool. Okay, don't fly off the handle. Aim for that middle ground. Aim for that compromise. Aim to say that, okay, I see what you're saying, but on the other hand, aim to be more of that, the embody the Libran traits where, you practice diplomacy and you always start a conversation or a sentence with, I see where you're going, but here's where I stand or I come in, or here is what my starting point is. And I feel that by doing so, it's going to allow the other party to lessen their tactics of antagonism against you, because you're starting off the sentence by, stating that I see where you're coming from, but here are the issues that are affecting me and why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. So this is not a month for you to, be the lone wolf. Just be like, forget everybody else. I'm going to do it my way. This is a month for compromise. This is a month for downplaying our own personal agendas in order to incorporate the greater narrative and to see how everything can, be put into place in a gentler manner so that everybody is happy. So compromise and things like that. Those are the major themes I'm seeing for the month of March. I feel overall there will be a lot of social functions that you're going to be attending, okay? The energy from this Four of Wands, this is the energy that you're bringing to the table. There will be a lot of, rubbing elbows with other people that might be in positions of power and authority. There will be a lot of sit-down dinners. I feel that, where you are going to come into contact with, clients, where you're going to come into contact with a lot of project managers even, is what I'm sensing. So there will be a lot of discussions, a lot of talks that are kind of like borderline professional and personal. And all of these things, there needs to be a clear demarcation between, professionalism and how much information, personal information you are revealing. So you're straddling this very precocious, like precarious fine line between, this is private information. I need to keep that private. And this is personal information. It's okay to share with this person, but not okay with that person. So there's a lot of maneuvering I feel going on. And it's really important for you here to maintain your cool, maintain your temper, and keep everything balanced within yourself. Okay. I do see a lot of communication coming through that might be on the personal front. So people breaching boundaries as well. That's something you want to be careful about. If they're steering a conversation into the personal realm and you feel that it's not appropriate, you really need to, put your foot down and do so in a more diplomatic way, in a firm, but also a very diplomatic way. Okay. So if they say something that you feel is like, that's too personal, try to redirect the conversation, make a joke, and then, steer towards a different topic. And I feel like it is within your reason to, within your rights to do something like that. And I do feel that you need to keep your mind focused, keep it very sharp, have a clear objective when you are talking to another person, especially if you are negotiating deals, if you are negotiating work contracts, if you are negotiating as well, dealing with clients' portfolios. And if you have to match their demands in a specific way, if you have to cater to them, if you have to accommodate them a specific way, I do feel it's really important for you to just maintain a clear objective, okay? Because what I see is a lot of communication happening and a lot of topics will be brought up. A lot of things needs to be unraveled. And so I'm seeing a lot of just, people throwing things at you here and there, and you're going to feel a little bit destabilized. So it's really important to, every once in a while, just stop the communication and say, what is the objective here? What are we trying to achieve? Is this just thrown into the mix as a distraction? Or is it some meaningful piece of information that I need to take into account? So every, 5 minutes or so, just remind yourself, what is the objective? Are we going off track? Are we going off on a tangent? Are we still focused on the same talking point? So I feel it's really important for you to maintain that sense of like inner zen, to focus on your main objective, because people will throw things here left and right as a distraction for you. Okay. I'm also feeling that in your work environment, I feel that some of you are dealing with hostile situations. So I'm seeing some people dealing with clients that might be very emotionally frazzled. Okay, so you might be in a banking industry. You might also be in an investment industry. And I'm sensing like some people are just, they're kind of like at their wits' ends and they don't really know what to do. So they come to you very, very frazzled, and they have all these issues and they're all interrelated, and they want you to help them unravel it. And while you're trying to, make sense of everything, they keep talking. And so what it does is that you're a very empathetic sign. And I do sense that, when people bring that energy of, just very, very emotionally destabilizing energy into your life, you tend to also mimic them. So be very careful about that, okay? Maintain your own little bubble and work from that so that other people's energies do not affect you. Okay, so it's kind of like two people sparking off each other. It can be really good if it's conducive for, ambition and good energy for starting projects. But on the other hand, it can also be very destabilizing if you keep mimicking each other and things don't get done. So I feel like the energy is going to go both ways, depending on, who you are. And so taking stock every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, and figuring out, what is my objective? So I feel like the work situation, a lot of things are going to be happening. I'm seeing you sending out a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls that needs to be returned, a lot of people trying to reach you. Make sure your phone is constantly charged, and make sure that you're not, you don't just use your phone, use up the battery, and just leave it idle. So keep your phone on you at all times. I'm seeing a lot of forgetful energy too. So Geminis, be very, very careful. Important documents. Make sure, before you go to bed, just lay everything out that you need for the next day, just to save yourself the time scrambling around in the morning. So I do feel like a lot of late nights, getting things done at the last minute too. Not that you're procrastinating, but I feel that there's just a lot of things outside of your control thrown at you left and right. And so you're going to have to, stay up late a few nights to get things done. Make sure everything is packed up so that you don't have stray papers, receipts, contracts, even important documents. So that's really of the utmost importance for this month, okay? Now, in terms of your housing situation, I do feel a lot of family get-togethers, okay? A more communication and contact on the family front, and especially with siblings. There's going to be a cause of celebration here with siblings. So it could be, engagement, marriage, for those of you who have siblings. It could also be, welcoming a new family member into the home, such as a child. So I'm seeing a lot of celebratory, good news types of energy. And I feel that a sibling is going to be coming to you, for those with siblings, will be coming to you with something in their lives that they have successfully completed, successfully overcome. So I do see, good news coming through from siblings and especially family members too. But it's more like something that is a little bit more personal, something that you hope they would have accomplished, such as graduation, such as getting married, such as, passing the bar exam. such as getting accepted into a school that they want. So there's some good news coming through, and I feel that it's gonna, really solidify your relationship here with the siblings that you grew up with. Okay. Now, in terms of the career front, I have here the High Priestess, and I'm going back to this because this is the one of three major arcana cards, and it lands in your career house. And this is actually a very important card. So we have here the High Priestess, and it indicates, like being privy to information, having access to a lot of information. And it's really important that you keep the information between, whoever shared it with you, and use the information wisely. So this is a big card about responsibility. Okay, so I do feel that there's a lot of just important information flying about, and I do feel that you want to make sure data, especially if you're doing anything related to data entry, filling forms, that forms are filled out correctly, datas are input correctly, and numbers especially. I'm seeing a lot of numbers input incorrectly. So I'm seeing like, people working in the accounting department, human resources, and things like that. And I'm seeing you put like information in, like social security number, street address, personal information, personal data. And so make sure everything is done thoroughly, double check, okay? Because I feel like something is going to slip under the radar. And I'm seeing a lot of forms being filed, a lot of forms being filled in. So I feel like some of you might be at a loss where everything goes. You might have a lot of questions as to, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what this means. So I feel that you have a lot of information to sift through overall. The ninth house, traditionally, it deals with higher education. And what I have here is the King of Swords, but I do want to talk about this in terms of, our personal philosophies. Okay, the ninth house deals with, I usually associate it with the crown chakra, the things that we believe in on a philosophical basis, the things that we value intellectually, and especially, as it relates to higher education. It can also indicate whether or not we feel sufficiently with our understanding, with our knowledge. And this is your card shown up here as the King of Swords in the reverse position. And what it feels to me is that there might be things that intuitively you understand to be true. But in terms of getting people on board with what you believe to be true, you might not be in the best position to explain yourself so that they arrive at the same narrative or the same conclusion as you. So that's the major challenge that I'm seeing. It's like a major point of aggravation coming through for this month, where you want to show somebody this is the way it is, but you have some information that you need to keep hidden, or you have some information that you can't disclose to your audience. So it's kind of, it's frustrating when you have these limitations imposed upon you. And so, Geminis, you are usually very, very succinct, effective and fast communicators. So I feel that it's going to require a different approach, okay? So if there's a piece of vital information you can't disclose, but you want them to see things from your perspective, maybe you need to design like a different narrative. Maybe you need to use stories to tell the same narrative. Maybe you have to rely on, other sources of information. I do feel using like, they keep saying like folklores, using like a fictional, like a parallel fictional story to tell the same story, and then see if people catch on and see the correlation. I feel that's going to be quite important for many of you. I do see some creative blocks coming through in terms of writing projects as well, for those of you who are in school. So with the King of Swords, it's basically telling you to do additional research, to do a little bit more digging, to arrive at, a more holistic understanding of a situation before you form an opinion. So that means, filling in all the gaps, filling in all the knowledge gaps, figuring out where the knowledge gaps are, so that you can do the adequate research to fill it in for your own sake, so that you have a holistic understanding of things. And I feel like for those of you who are in school, doing so, especially reading what other people have written, will allow you to overcome these, creative or writer's blocks. Okay. So that's going to allow you to, get your essays in on time, start writing for your exams, for example. So I do see, these areas needs to be the major focus for this month. In terms of your relationship, and let me talk about the business relationship first. I feel like there's somebody, that if you are in a business partnership, for example, you might be the person working behind the scenes, and your partner might be, the voice or the face of the product. And I do feel your partner's traveling quite a bit, and I do sense as well they're traveling to procure clients, contracts, and things like that. So you might be the one waiting at home, finalizing the contracts, signing the contracts, reviewing the contracts, and then pushing things through. But I do feel there's going to be a lot of communication overall with partners. And for those of you who are dealing with romantic partners who are in a relationship right now, solid relationship, partnership, or even marriage, what I have here is the Knight of Wands. And this is a person who is very courageous, okay? And I feel almost as if there might be, it seems to me as if there will be a lot of communication between you and a partner. And I do sense there will be a lot of ideological debates between where they're coming from and where you're coming from. And I'm sensing for many of you the lack of consensus, the lack of agreement within your relationship stems from the fact that they might be foreign to you, or you might be foreign to them. So I'm seeing like a different lifestyle, different background, different, historical approach to problem solving. And it doesn't indicate to me alone, this card alone in the upright position, indicates that somebody who's very, very courageous and they won't back down. And I feel almost as if they're arguing from a moral standpoint. It doesn't indicate to me conflict, but I do see a lot of debates happening between you and your significant other. And I do sense that it will lead to, situations where you might not agree, and then you might not agree with one another. And then they might throw something out there that that you might not have all the information about. And so you're going to need to do, proper research. You're going to need to brush up things on your end, okay? I do sense as well, a lot of functions involving family members where you will also be introducing your family members to a significant other. So there's a lot of energies about your public image, where you stand, how people see you, and things like that. It doesn't have to be bad, but I just feel that, the public environment, I feel that, the home, the family unit, is kind of like your refuge, your safe haven for this month, because there will be a lot of things happening, in the work front, in the friendship front as well, where you're not really sure where you stand with other people. You're not really sure where you stand with friends, with group associations, with, your work environment. And so your house is where you go home to retreat. And I do feel because of it, the partner too might be retreating with you.